I'm in my red season because it's cold. So red is cheery. Hi, Heavenly Tea. I am being interviewed by Teresa McCarthy Heron. And it's so lovely. I did some work with her. She is a somatic therapist specialist. That means moving emotion out of the body through sound, movement, different ways of moving energy out and through, completely feeling and owning emotion. So we're so on the same page. And it's lovely because she wants to find out more how I work. So this will be a talk about some of the aspects of soul and spirit. So I'm very much looking forward to it. That was speedy.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. How about you?
I'm doing all right.
I just saw something with aura glasses that some people use to be able to perceive auras. You can see craft in the sky. So you know, there's so many reasons they're spraying the skies. A lot of it is because of ships, and I'm so positive.
It's because of what?
The ships in the sky, they don't want us to keep seeing them. One of the reasons.
Oh my gosh.
Because I think there's probably a lot more going on up there than we know.
Do you see things in your peripheral and stuff when you when you are out in nature and stuff, you've caught some things on camera, but do you see things that like most people don't see?
I used to really want to,
Mm.
but I think I feel them more than see them.
Ah,
Yeah. I do occasionally see sparks, but that tends to be more inside. You know,
oh,
if
yeah.
someone has a special idea, it's like it'll often make a little spark. So round their head, sort of, it's often, I don't know, I haven't seen them that much lately, but kind of around the head, chest, and hands seem to be quite sparky areas. So and with different colors, because I remember my brother had a red spark and a gold spark because he was a little bit agitated by something I was saying to him.
And you feel that or you see it?
I saw that. Yeah. So it was almost, okay, yes, this is the emotion I'm feeling, and here's a red spark. How interesting, which was nice kind of confirmation.
Right? Yeah.
He's angry. Yeah. Mm.
Oh my gosh, totally. I know because like I've been kind of playing around with visualization and a lot of lately people coming into my field and they're talking about like visualization when you're meditating. I'm like, I close my eyes, I see black. Unless once in a while, if I'm doing like a lot of like a breathwork journey, like a exciting, breathwork journey and stuff, that's kind of like I don't know. Um,
I don't
just
think
like
that's a bad thing, though.
what was that?
I don't think that's a bad thing because I think some people who get an image means that another entity is putting it into them.
Mm,
Whereas the imagination is much more your will pointing it. So if you want to think about having a holiday in the South Seas with your son and husband, then you can start to create the images, and that's a beautiful meditation, and you'll find a whole lot appearing in your mind. So
yeah.
there's a lot of snobism in that kind of thing. It's like, oh yes, and so this. It's like, really? Are you sure that's your spirit? It could be another entity.
Ah, yeah. So that maybe it's okay that I'm not seeing them because I've been kind of curious about trying to um open myself up a little bit more to that and like work on that sense and I'm like, maybe I'm okay because I have like a little bit more of the feeling sense and the with regards to emotions and whatnot. So
Yeah, so I'm sure it would be possible to develop, but I would just be gentle with your will, of the wish, and let the wish start to flower itself, color itself in a little bit in your mind. And for you, of course, it's going to start with an emotion, but then let it be a possible fleeting image, a little flash, and the more you're comfortable with that, you can almost, like after a dream, you can sometimes hold that image, can't you? There are some really complex dreams, and it depends on how you wake up and all kinds of reasons, but you can sometimes hold it and then then you can remember, you go into different things in the order of the dream, and other times you can't. But the more you try and practice, that kind of muscle gets stronger.
So there's this one gal that does like something similar that you mentioned, and she talks about some similar things, not necessarily dreams, but like meditation, where she has like gone back in the past and recreated something in meditation. So is that kind of what you're describing with regards to dreams? You're like, oh, I'm gonna recreate what I just saw.
Well, you can, someone taught me that he said it was the Gestalt method. And then I had another friend who knew him who also came forward with it. So I thought this is useful and I can use it. So they both divided dreams into 5 segments. And then they added a last one, a sixth one. So you'd literally go in, you'd sort of chart out your 5 segments as a sketch or a notes or whatever, and you could go in and interact with it, in a sort of either on your own in a meditative state or with someone else in a hypnotic state.
Yeah.
Get all the information you could get out of those 5 symbols in the existing dream, and then you're encouraged to add a resolution piece. So in other words, take it where you want to with your conscious mind. So I love that. And I think that kind of helped me. I don't use that method anymore, but of course it helped me kind of, again, develop those muscles. Yeah.
Nice. So the symbols, meaning like whatever you remember from your dream.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. And just, yeah, because sometimes, dreams feel like they go on for hours, don't they? But then you remember these kind of weird little things like, a pink toothbrush or something. I don't know. I'm just making that up. But that's actually a symbol. If you remember it, it's a sort of lock-on point. So, yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's interesting because like I wasn't able to really connect with what I mentioned on your post today about dreams. Yeah. And like a few weeks ago when Chris was ill and he had like a fever for like 24 hours and it was that night that he had that fever that he was like I think he kind of woke up like sleepwalking in a way, and the second time he woke up and experienced this it almost like seemed like he saw a ghost, or like I was mentioning an entity, and he was just like freaked out about it. And I was like, okay, I'm going to turn the lights on. We're going to sit with each other and you're just going to look in my eyes. We're going to, say, that we're all okay. Even though, he was really freaked out and he's like, get away. And I'm like, wow. Well, I don't know what he's experiencing, but I do know like there have been human design people that have mentioned that he has some karma that he's living out. And yeah, so I'm like,
but I mean, entities, as they can get in any kind of way. That night with that dream that I put on, I'm not going to go into the dream, but let's just say I was watching this cinematic play out and it involved murderers hiding chopped up dead bodies. I mean, it was really horrible. Okay, it was a disgusting dream. I never dreamed like that. So it was like someone else was throwing it upon me, and I didn't have the Wi-Fi on, but my computer was on all night because I was doing some processing, some long save. And I thought that through the electricity, of course, it's all a connected network. That's where that dream was able to come through. So it's not necessarily a karmic thing. It's just that there are certain entities always wanting to disperse and infect.
wow.
So recognize it as, yes, it's perfectly real. Yes, you tell it. What do you want to tell it, Chris? Go with it. Go with it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like instead of telling him it's okay, just be like, yeah, you're right. What you're experiencing is, yeah.
I had a boyfriend who he was fascinating character. My God, he had so much energy, but also his last life had died. He died in misery and torment and fury. Okay, it was a terrible last death it had, and he brought all that into this life. And yet,
Oh, okay. This last life. Okay.
yeah. So yeah, it's tricky, isn't it? I'm talking about past life, yeah.
Wait.
And so every so often that would erupt through him, and he just had so much energy in this little body, and partly was because of that fury that he'd had on expiring in his last life. And so he'd do really stupid experiments sometimes. Before he'd met me, he'd done a lot of drugs, and he went completely clean with me, thank goodness, you know. But one night he decided to invite in, and he said it was the spirit of music. And I thought, well, that's kind of quite nice. But, you know, Aliens, Predator Aliens, and the Giga illustrator who created those images. You probably never watched that movie, or did you watch that?
No, I don't know that one.
Okay, so
What's it called?
it's old now. It was the Predator series, or otherwise called Aliens. You know, really scary looking reptoid aliens.
Okay.
And he loved the artist who created that, which is, you know, a bit worrying, big red flag. But I was just too sweet at that point. Anyway, so the spirit of music he invited was someone from that group. Okay. Which I didn't know, from that group of entity, that group of aliens, which probably I would just call demonic fourth level. So really, anyway, we were asleep. I woke up in the middle of the night after he'd done his little musical spell. He played this ferocious, incredible improvised piece to bring in this spirit of music. Okay. So it was amazing, but, you know, strange, extraordinary. I went to sleep, woke up, absolutely terrified, just living daylights terrified.
You did?
Me, I was completely in terror because whatever had come into our apartment was scary. I mean, big time scary. And I literally was frozen. He was just asleep. and I was like, you know, I could barely move. I managed to kind of force myself to sit up and put a small light on. And then I found every prayer I could find. This is like 20 years ago, okay? But every prayer I could find, and I just threw it out of me and just did my best to hold some kind of quiet inner state. Oh my God, that was scary. And then finally, after about 20 minutes, I managed to just sort of do a begone, you know, some kind of a command, and it disappeared. But wow. So yeah, it's great. Things happen. Characters.
Do you think like was that his intention to bring in this the musical spirit from this movie, or was it just to like just general?
It was partly because he was wrapped up in, you know, this internal anger, I think. So the spirit of music he wanted was going to be a ferocious one. So that was his intention. It's just he was asleep and I got it. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, so you know, weird and wonderful things go on, but I don't have scary things usually. That's why that was surprising to have that dream the other night. So it doesn't need to be karmic if you have a scary thing. It can literally be a predator, because there are some still, you know, floating around this realm.
Yeah.
Gone, but
I like what did you say in your post? You said something like, did you say you said it out loud, or did you write it, or did you go back like in a dream and like kind of recreate it? What was your process?
Yeah, I because it was so disturbing and shocking and horrible, the dream. So I knew, wow, that's not normal for me. Okay, I'm going to get to the bottom of it. So I did what I usually do with those sort of things. I just turned on if I witness myself, it makes it easier for me. So I turned on the record on my iPad and then just start a conversation. And first I did some work because I knew that my man was involved a little bit, because there were a few strange influences going on with him. So I did a scan and a clear, you know, so for me, I've got all different ways of doing it, but basically I make sure I'm connected into source and I'm clean, and then we clear. So myself, then him. And then it was like, okay, now who sent me this dream? I demand to know. I need to know. And then I got instantly that weird character who turned up, turned up was a part of the AI system, the negative AI system. And so then once they appear in your aura, I learned this from Oksana Buchanan, who's brilliant at this kind of soul work. She learned it from a brilliant Italian man. You just touch them in your imagination, but if they are evident, if you can see them, you are perfectly within your rights to touch them and find out who they are and command anything from them because they've come into your presence and you've noticed them. And so you can have this conversation. And I have a way of doing the two-way conversation by I do a little count for the other person to speak. So I say my question, and then I'll do a little 3, 2, 1 or 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, depending on what kind of lead in I think I need. And then I let them speak. That's how I've sort of established ways of having conversations with lots of different things, from water to the wind, to the earth, to bits of my soul, whatever, it works pretty well now.
Wow. That's amazing.
But you do that with people's bodies, in our session. We just went to that pocket of unresolved stuff from my childhood, didn't we? And you just knew it was there, and we went in and we gave it voice, and boom, it was cleared, But you do that too.
Yeah. That's really interesting, though. I like that because, sometimes Chris mentions the part of him that he sees as like anger, that the frustration that comes out a lot. He relates to it and he calls it the devil. And like sometimes when I'm like, I notice, that part that comes out, I'm like, I am just someone that mentioned, like you could just love it more, like try to love that part more and see if when he's experiencing that, to see if he's able to give it love and then send it to go and have like playtime or light, right? Like instead of light, so like kids resonate a little more with play. So I'm like, do you want to send this part of you like to more a playful time? And he's like, no. I'm like, ooh. Okay. Like, what does this part need? He's like, it wants to play more. I'm like, okay, but that's what I just said.
Yeah, it's interesting though, isn't it? Because it's like there's a sort of a block of listening, isn't there? That there's a piece of some kind of barrier in between allowing your opinion to be accepted and taken in and incorporated, which love can do when it's soft, isn't it? But when you are in that agitated state, you've got to say, no, you're over there and I'm over here. That kind of false division thing, which I had with my mum today, which was hilarious. But so you do the thing of, do you want to play more, this character he's got? Do you do something slightly more open-ended of what do you think he needs? Can you ask him what he needs? Because you do that with me, with clients.
Yeah. I mean, like I do, and most of the time it comes through, he's like, he just wants to play football or basketball or wrestle or, something. And I'm like, and then like, can we give this, he calls it the devil, the part that's very, very angry inside of him that he feels like there's this like almost like a headache pressure thing that he calls it, that like pushes in on his head. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty descriptive for, I think, his age and, not really understanding and stuff. So
have you played the thing with his imagination where, okay, let's say he says that little devil needs to go and play soccer, or what is it he loves to play?
Football, basketball. He wants to run around. Yeah.
So it was some kind of physical thing, and you think, right, I've got to do the grocery shopping and cook supper or whatever. So you can't really facilitate that, but he could start the autonomic training of, in his imagination, that character is now doing that for the next 6 hours.
Oh, he tells that to that character. Oh,
And he, through his imagination, provides whatever that character needs in order to be able to play whatever it is he needs to for the next 6 hours or whatever, you know. So he builds a construct. Literally, it's like instead of it being in pressure in here,
yeah,
it's over here.
yeah,
And it literally should take the pressure off him, actually, shouldn't it? It really should. I'm sure it would.
yeah.
You
That's a
could
good
get him to
idea.
embellish it, you could draw it, you could make a little model of it, you know, keep sort of adding until whatever that is has what it needs to not bother him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good idea.
Yeah.
We've been playing a little bit more with like trying to have him express with his sound, like when we were doing the little dolphin and whale thing, and he's like, "Are you gonna be a baby whale?" I'm like, "No, I want to be a mama whale, of course." You know, and he's like, "Okay, then I'll be the dolphin and be like." I'm like, okay, well, do you want to come and play with Isabel and I? And he's like, I don't know, maybe. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll come and check in with you in a little while to see if you want to come and play with us again.
I sang with a jazz band who was a kind of weird jazz band, but it really did train me for the stage. And these old fogies, some of them old, some of them young, and they would sit around a table and smoke their expensive Turkish hashish before getting up on stage to perform. And I would just, keep over there. But that's what they did, little cronies. And while that was happening one day, one of the younger ones had brought his son. I think his wife was there too. And the son found his way up to the stage and got behind the microphone. And no audience had arrived yet. This was still, preamble time. And this child, who was 10 or 11, he just said his name over and over again through this microphone. And it was set to, fill the entire hall, which was considerable. And he was just listening to his voice with his name. It was like he was calling his soul in. It was amazing. I had just chills the whole way just watching this. The men, they didn't know what they were doing, obviously. They were just in their cloud. But this child and I was witnessing it, and it was incredibly powerful. So if you do those sessions with Chris, you could record it, even if, just a phone, but record it and then you listen back in a day or a half a day or something, because then you've got that next part of the processing, because it's that witnessing of what's happened, and the understanding develops through the witnessing.
Oh, it's a good idea.
Nice
Yeah,
way of
so just
recording.
listening back to himself making those sounds. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
wonderful. I
It's
like that.
very powerful recording equipment. I wish I could have used it more at my school. I was allowed to use sound, but not visuals. But
Yeah.
sometimes even just sound is just incredibly powerful. Yeah, you can.
Yeah. I asked him actually, he was in a wrestling tournament last weekend, and he he got kind of down on himself because he didn't win all of them. It was like his first ever. And I was like, I thought you did amazing. But I'm like, and I took some videos and it was like, do you want to watch yourself and see how like really good you performed for your first ever? Like you've never done this before. And he's like, no. I'm like, oh, okay. Like I think you should like it would be like really, I don't know. I think it for me when you see the way like he actually did perform during it, like I don't know, it was really I don't know, entertaining and kind of like a little proud mama moment. And I was like, oh my gosh, he's so good. And like, even though he didn't win, but like he hadn't been going to all of the practices and whatnot for wrestling because we were out of town and traveling. And he's been doing basketball. So he's had to switch on and off between basketball and wrestling. So he didn't really know as much, I think, as some of the other kids. And they're supposed to all be like really, really new, like their first year. But I don't know that all of them were. Like a lot of them looked like they had been in some other competitions or whatever they're called, before. It was like, okay, I think you did really good for the amount of like, experience you have. So, yeah.
Maybe it just needs time. Don't throw those videos away yet.
Yeah.
3 months, and then you could just casually, you're, chopping up things in the kitchen one day, just, oh, Chris, do you want to see that video? Because sometimes you need all that processing, and maybe it's something he had, previous life experience in, and that's why it's like, I can do it. I'm slightly disappointed because I didn't win everything because it's in my DNA that I always win. That might be the prevalent emotion right now.
He totally is like that.
Later on, it might be like, yeah, okay, I'm interested. Yeah, okay. With a bit of distance. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so question about you, like speak a lot about like past lives. How do you determine that? Like, do you know, is it just like an inner knowing, or is there a way that you like tap in to discover that?
Yeah, there are different ways. There's, I some people are really kind of, totally focused into the past life, and you've got to get the whole story. And that's always a little bit suspect, I think, because, they're usually someone we know. It's usually not the woodcutter in the forest in Northern Ohio. It's just, we don't do that. But, I've had a few things told me, a couple of things. So I have a few hints, which is, that's maybe 25 years old now, some of that. If something comes up, like my ridiculous affinity with trees, then I will go into my soul and have a chat to see, how far that affinity goes and whether I've ever been, the essence of a plant, of a tree, the dryads. I'll go in and chat to my whole kind of soul collaboration and see if anyone, I usually invite someone to step forward from my soul group. And I call the way I've seemed to have defined it over the last few years is that, I call this is my spirit, but this in this lifetime, but it's part of my soul. And so each lifetime is another story, and that's the soul, all the past, present, future, parallel stuff. So I'll invite, if there is someone who knows something, to step forward and tell me, or I'll read from a book that's like an Akashic Records that I can do in my mind. So that's one way of discovering things. And then there's other stuff of just ridiculous resonance or lots of experiences. Like I was, in the States for a year at Purdue University when I was 19, freshly married, went over there for a year. And I was doing some meditation, and a whole lot of very scary American Indians came out of the wardrobe into the room. And I could see them. It was like seeing them. I could feel the energy of this, like about 24 American Indians just kind of came out of this closet in this room.
When you were in your meditation.
Yeah. And it was, I was a little freaked out. And they were kind of, because they weren't necessarily angry, they were just fierce male warriors. And so, over a couple of years, I sort of processed that and realized that, American Indians, and I found 2 lifetimes that I'd had. So it's kind of detective work, basically.
Do you feel like, did you notice if they had messages for you, or if like you noticed you were like part of like a tribe or something?
At the time, I didn't feel equipped to have chats with them.
Yeah.
I sort of fairly closed that down quite quickly.
Yeah.
But later I did do an investigation through kinesiology, in fact. Quite complex, and I found out that I was a child sacrifice to one of these northern Canadian border American Indian tribes, where I was one of those gifted children that are sort of seemed special, so they get sacrificed as part of the story. I sort of uncovered that, and that made sense why I was with my ex-husband, etc. That kind of tied lots of things together. That's a more of a negative experience. But, I'd read books and resonate and realize all this knowledge I have is Lakota tribe, I mean, what are you talking about? It's obvious, or why do I know about the Hopi? All these sort of experiences that would just add up. So yeah, more of a detective work, which is fun. As it comes up, you look deeper because that's interesting.
Yeah. Do you, when you do your muscle testing for it, do you just like bring in the thought of it? Was I this, that, or the other in a past life? And then you just press down or?
But I don't do that anymore because it's so arduous. You've got to just go, it's like yes and no questions. It's like, So now I love it that I can just let a string of information pour through me. Much more fun.
Okay. All right. So now, tell me now, what you do instead. I mean, you mentioned it's more of like a chat that you have. How do you usually do your chat with your soul? What do you have to, what's your first step that you do when you check to see these lifetimes or the chat with your soul? What do you do first?
Okay,
Newbie, I'm completely new. What would you do?
well, there are lots of different ways, but let's just take one where I had this intuition that my man had been a whale being, and it was suddenly like, bells ringing. Yes, definitely, definitely. And at the same time, in the same week, anyway, I'd been told by a friend of mine, a psychic friend in New Zealand, that I'd been, because I started to work with the elementals, and she said, "Yeah, you were instrumental in the creation of the oceans here." And it was suddenly like, "Yeah, okay, things
You
started."
were.
Yes,
Oh
yes.
wow.
So sort of information from ancient days started to kind of come in through drawings and just interest.
Oh my gosh.
Obviously, I thought, well, this is interesting. Let's go and investigate it. And so, in a less formalized way, before going to sleep, I would sit up in my bed, have the light off, have my whatever recording equipment running, and go in. And I used this thing that I was given a few years ago, 5 years ago, which is just commands. It felt so audacious when I first had it, but to say, I command my spirit.
Oh, okay.
So I use that. And also, if I'm feeling a little bit insecure or I feel like this is so audacious, I need proper support, not just my soul. And then I command prime creator. I command prime creation. And that, the first time I said that was like, I,
Oh,
I was so
what
embarrassed.
happened? Something happened with the sound when you were after you said that.
Oh, really?
You might have to say that again. Okay, so
I
you
wish,
mentioned something about prime creation. When you said that, then say it again because it cut
yeah,
out.
I was whispering it. It was a whisper, and sometimes the
Oh,
microphone picks up, and sometimes it doesn't. But it felt so outrageous that I would say it. I command Prime Creator. It's like, really? Who are you to do that? But now I use it because I understand that I am from creation and therefore a part of it. So of course I'm allowed to.
yes,
I find that
absolutely.
very powerful and it gets me into a clear space. I make sure that I feel I'm often will mentally scan through my body, like start above my head and sort of if any little instinct says, hang on, have a look, then I might check and see if there's something, invading my system and then command that out, release it, maybe make a sound. It depends. It depends on what might be going on. So I like to be from a clean space.
Yes.
Feel that's good because, I'm so aware of all sorts of other energies that would like to give us information if we're not aware of it. So once
Mm.
I'm in the clean space, then
Do
I
you ever visualize and tell and see something that you're like, okay, I'm just clear, just imagine that you're clearing the dust, clearing the slate or something, or do you say something about
all
it?
kinds of things.
Well, okay, all right. So
Sometimes I use a vacuum cleaner, like pull it out.
an actual one?
Yeah, yeah. In my mind,
Oh, okay. I was like, maybe.
Yeah. Well, yeah, maybe. It's, all of the imagination, different kinds of things. I might have a fire, a flame to burn it away, or I might have some heavenly rain, whatever, depends, I suppose, on what the energy feels like. So
Yeah.
yeah, using all kinds of tools, different imagination tools. And usually if let's say, I don't know, I discover that there's an arrowhead in here or something, and so I will pull it out and command that it's all clean. And usually my body will, there'll be a shudder, there will be a recognition of the shift. So, I have the feedback. And so once I'm in that place, I think is clear. Then I used to use this. I don't use it quite so much now, but it's useful. I created a place where my soul resides. Okay. And if I want to ask something like that, like about a past life, I command all of my soul into that place.
Oh,
And either I just say, I command my spirit to call in all of my soul, or I command prime creation to give me all of me now.
yeah.
So it's like summoning all, past, present, future, parallel. Everyone come here. And I have a kind of auditorium. It's actually a white marble amphitheater that has two big trees growing out of it. But I've created it in lots of different ways. But I found that a nice place because I could imagine all of these beings, all these versions of me around this amphitheater so that there's, a lot of information available, all
Wow.
information available of my experience. And then I will go and I find myself in the center of that space and I will either just call in, say, I know one of you knows this, step forward and give me the information, and I will count down and allow that part of me to speak. Or if I don't feel that, I'll say, I will read it. And so I just imagine this great big ancient leather bound book. It's about this thick. And I literally feel it and I will turn the page and start to read. It's quite amazing. Fun, really fun. It's like, okay, I know it's in here. You just have
That
to
does sound like fun.
it is fun. And it's quite amazing sometimes I like things to be rapid because I got so much fire, and air. So it's like once I got to that place, I can open it and then just start pouring out information and just pours out of my mouth because I'm recording it. So, that's fun and interesting. So I get a lot of my info that way.
Wow.
Yeah. So when I was doing that ocean investigation, I also, because it was so unusual, it wasn't a human thing. Obviously, it wasn't a human.
Great.
So I wanted to feel viscerally, I wanted to experience how that might feel, see if I could resonate with any of that memory,
Yeah.
that, experience. And of course, we have a human body with a human mind. And so then, I'll often present to my soul, I know that I am in a human body with a human mind. I also know that the information exists. Give it to me in a way that I can perceive it.
Ah.
So it's like, I know it exists somehow, and I'll need a bridge built to that. So, and then I might just have, 20 minutes of some sort of experience in the body of a kind of, swimming in being of the ocean, in the being water, those sort of different states of energy you can feel in your body in
Yeah.
the meditation, which are just totally phenomenal sometimes. You can't really
Yeah.
put words to it, but I've indulged in those kind of things, which is exciting and exhilarating, and then it's like it's the knowing is reminded, and then I find afterwards that I have a different relationship to the subject I was investigating. So it brings an expansion. Like even
That's so
recently,
neat.
I just did something which I had no idea I would do because of an investigation with some nasty entity that I was dealing with. I became really big, like a massive giant, right? And it was like, "Hmm, okay, all right then, why not? Stuff's infinite, so we may as well go with it." And so just the last couple of days, because my man and I, it's like, oh, we can almost see each other. It's like so exciting. It's nearly safe enough that we can actually talk to each other and see each other because
Yeah.
I haven't spoken to him for a year. Um, and so this new image came to me, which was that he was a big giant. He is a big giant. I mean, yeah, he is. And I was this big giant, and we were meeting in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean as massive giants. And that was interesting. Yeah.
Amazing! Oh my gosh!
And it's because you can, in your soul space, your imagination, there are no, thank God, no limitations. So you have different, different experience because we are limited enough as it is, aren't we? So
Yes, I know. That's what's like. See, I'm gonna share a little something personally about what I've been rubbing up against, like resistance. So, as I'm like starting to really find my way through, different um, personal growth and career growth and moving outside of the dental field and into more of holistic and somatics and the cranial sacral things of that nature. I noticed like most of my clients are women and entrepreneurs as well, but I feel like I've been hearing and noticing like a little hint and a nudge to work with children, and I'm like, like they're like I feel like there's the inner critic inside of me is like, but you don't, that would be like way too, it would be hard for you because all the messaging and the content, like you have no idea even like how to speak to the parents that are experiencing it and da 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 da, because like I can see and hear about the problems and whatnot like women are having when they're not in their body and feeling and what's and emotions, but I don't know how to like bridge that to the children. And like it was interesting because I had a meditation yesterday that was like a quantum meditation, and like there was this bridge, there was this bridge that I imagined. I don't know. And then last night I had this dream that was like it said, like some reason, somewhere in the dream, I felt like it was towards the end of the dream that was like, follow the unicorn. I was like, what? And I woke up and I was like, and I was still like in that early, wake up state. I was like, unicorn, when did I see a unicorn last? What did I see? Oh, I just saw a unicorn yesterday at the homeschool co-op. The one of the teachers had a unicorn on his shirt, and I was like, okay, so like follow the breadcrumbs, work with children. I'm like, but there's
the thing is of working with children, you're actually working with the parents because you have to get the parents' permission to work with the children, and you're really good at talking to the parents. So when you get the lowdown from the parent of the, oh, I'm feeling stressed and anxiety and blah, 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 because of how their child is, then you get through that into the child. So that's
similar like homeopathy. They say that sometimes when a parent is more healed with homeopathy, same goes with the children. That's what I've heard as well.
sure, yeah, the auric field is so expansive. But even so, the message, you're good at getting women to come to you through the emotions. And if you've got a child who's challenging that mother, let's just say, but you're addressing her emotions and you're saying, and I understand that the well-being of your child is linked to that. How can I help you? That's the bridge, because you have to go through the paying adult, they're the one you book the appointment with. And that was the problem for me, that it was the opposite, because I was working in a school where I didn't have touch with the parents.
Oh.
It's me and the children, and we could do whatever we wanted. But to have had a really great to have a PhD to your name. But to have really gone a little further, I needed to have the contact with the parent because, they just know they're doing fun stuff, creative stuff. They didn't really know what was going on apart from what I would write in my reports. But you can go straight because that's what you're doing, straight to the parent, and then you just you just show the link between the well-being of the child, mostly because you're talking to the parent. Because they, when they're in stress, as you know, they can't think of very much else other than their own stress. And all they just see is problem. The child is the problem.
Yes, that's true. I know.
As long as you're sorting their stress, then, yeah, do what you want. You can go in there and you probably find you'll end up working with both of them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what yep. Yep. True. I have a question. Would you be interested in like kind of doing a little bit of guidance for me with how you do your soul chats?
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Oh,
Let's
yay!
have a drink of water on that one.
Just let me know what you need me to do. If I close my eyes?
What do you want? What do you want to know? What do you want?
Hmm. What do I want to know? I want to know what seems to be I guess like a block between what I am currently experiencing and what I desire for growth and a career that I'm looking to establish outside of the dental field.
Okay, that's fun because
That's kind of broad. Is that too
no,
broad?
no, 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 it's fine because you're going to fill in all the details.
Okay.
You will. So what we need to do then is we need to jump forward to a slightly future version of yourself.
Oh,
You decide, do you want to make that 30 years in the future, 2 months, 3 years? What kind of time would you like to put that? This person we're going to speak to, which is you, but this person has no problems with that. This person knows exactly what she's up to with that situation, and she's got it into a peaceful place that she feels in command of the situation. So how far do you want us to go ahead with that?
I would say about age 60.
That's way too far.
It is? Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
because you're really young.
Oh, okay.
You're
I thought maybe.
something, yeah. That's way
Okay.
too far. Okay.
All right. Let's say 3 years from now.
Okay, okay, cool. We can start with our eyes open and we might go into eyes closed because what I want to encourage you to do is the tiny little images. You know this, but the tiny little impulses, those are the ones, don't throw them away. Those are the pieces of information we need. So what does she look like? Just describe me what she's wearing. Is she standing up? Is she sitting down? Just give me a description.
Hmm. She is standing up tall, walking around with a little, like her shoulders back, and like she's relaxed, and her elbows are soft. She has a smile on her face.
What kind of shoes has she
And
got?
what was that?
What kind of shoes does she have?
Shoes. She's wearing, they're flat shoes, and they're comfortable. They're tan colored.
I can see that. This is fun. That's where we start to merge the field. So we're both looking in the same place. Okay.
Yeah.
Is she carrying something?
Um,
Anything?
I like some sort of bag,
Yeah.
like a shoulder bag.
Yeah, it's a shoulder bag, isn't it? And it's sort of squarish but soft, not too thick. It's about that thick.
Yes,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Okay, cool. We don't need to look inside yet, but in a moment we can get her to show that. I just got the next impulse that there is a table with things on it that she can show us. So do you want to go and have a look at what's on this table? It's part of her work.
Yeah. Artwork. There's
She's leafing through several different drawings that people have made.
yeah, her and her son. And there's different herbs and like flower essences.
What, in little jars of oil, or are they dried herbs, or what have you got there?
They are in little like jars, little jars.
Nice. So like a little group of them. Okay.
Yeah, but they also she there's also like some flowers and herbs around it.
Oh, fresh ones.
Yeah, that describe that kind of depict what is what.
Nice. I like that. Is
Uh,
this table for clients to look at, or can you look around the room and see what else is in this space that you're in?
hmm.
And whether it's you bringing a mobile kit to a place or whether people are coming to your place. Let's see if we can.
I feel like the table is for home use and for clients as well, but it doesn't go places.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So is there a tablecloth on there, or is it a bare surface? What can you see?
It was brown. It was bare surface.
Okay. And anything else on that table? Or?
Crystals. There was like a big purple one
Hmm.
and like a tall clear one, a tall quartz, I think it was.
Yeah, yeah, I can just see that with a few tiny little buds at the bottom, a really big chunk.
Yeah,
Lovely.
yeah.
Have you got like things to make notes with? Is there any kind of official admission or anything sort of note taking? Is any of that in that or not?
Mm. Yeah, she has a journal there. Hmm.
Right. Yes. Okay. With dates and appointments and notes on people. Let's have a look in her bag now. What's in that bag?
Hmm. There's more paper. There's more journals.
I had a feeling.
Oh no.
Is that on
Yeah.
her clients? I would suspect it's on her clients, but can you kind of describe for me what's in those sheets?
They're plans of what it is that she's looking to do.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um,
Things she's
yeah.
done already, or just things she's planning to do with someone, or both? Is it like this is the 3 months ago and this is tomorrow's appointment?
Like programs that she wants to um share.
Okay, okay, that's nice. Let's just ask her what else she would like to give you information wise. And she can either hand you a piece of paper, she can speak it, she can show you a picture, she can show you a moving image. What is coming as I speak? Because something popped in.
It just seemed to be like something outside
Yeah, yeah.
and yeah,
I
something
saw
outside.
a vehicle with a some kind of a logo on it.
I didn't see that. I thought we were more in like a nature area with like family. It might have been like a retreat or something with a family that she
Okay.
wanted to show me.
So as your family or with other families.
With other families. Yep.
Okay, so let's look at the organization of that. Is she organizing that? Does she have details of that in her bag?
She does, yes.
Yeah. And what kind of people are involved in that? She got single moms, are they families with lots of kids? What kind of situation? They homeschooled kids? She got documentation on that?
Hmm. I feel like they aren't necessarily homeschool parents, but they're parents with children that they're looking to just connect more with their their essence and their essence with their children.
That breath, I just got that kind of like heavy relief breath. Like, oh, thank God, Teresa, it's like, I was at my wit's end to just, oh, this is so good. I feel like that taking the weight off them is going to be extreme. Okay, let's have a look now at this place.
Mm,
What kind of kids can you see around you?
mm. I see like dresses and moving around, and then like kids running around up and down hills, playing in like near creeks. Um,
How many people are looking after them? Are there, what kind of adult supervision is going on? Have you got any details of that you can see? And is anyone observing? Are there any kind of engagements directly with the children, or is it more a space where the children do and you're perhaps observing? Can you detect that? How you're moving? Let's have a look how you move around the space.
Yeah.
And
Mm,
if you want, you can go above, like an aerial view, and look down on yourself. That's quite useful.
yeah. I feel like so it seems as though she's kind of moving around and interacting with the kids, with the parents. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm seeing a little bit of note taking when ideas come up. There's sort of either you're speaking into like a phone, dictaphone or something, or a couple of little notes and goes back in your pocket as you sort of note certain things. Are there other people helping you?
I didn't see anyone else helping me, but she wouldn't mind having an assistant.
Yeah. It seems like perhaps, the parents make the negotiation that you're in an area that is properly prepared for that. They have the responsibility and you are in interaction and encouragement.
Yes, right.
Okay, cool. Let's just leave that there for a moment. Oh, no, no, let's one thing. We're just going to ask her what problems has she found? Does she have any problems there that are niggling with her, or is she feeling quite confident? Is there anything that's come up there?
Mm, some of the children don't want to be involved as much in the practice. They feel like it's like the parents are a little bit more actually interested in trying to be more expressive, but the children aren't as mobile with it, maybe, or
Do they
open.
have tech? Do the kids, have you taken their tech from them, or have they got their?
I didn't see that they have tech. No.
Okay, okay. So you might want to think about that environment in a little more depth as to the full let's go for it, the energetics, the adventurous, and then the reluctance. So it's maybe just about honing and tweaking and adding to the richness. Let's just take her back for a moment. Let's have her. She's had a day of work
Yes.
and sitting down, relaxing, and
Mm.
and having a conversation. And what is she talking about?
Mm.
Her take home.
She's wondering like where else she can, besides for like local, where else she can do this, like to expand the impact.
So is she
With
thinking about groups, different groups that exist, or you're thinking of creating a group, attracting people, or how's she playing with many ideas?
hmm. I mean, like she's desires like a following, and she's hoping to take these retreats elsewhere besides for just like the local area that she's around to make it like even a bigger experience.
Okay, let's just press pause on that moment. We're going to go fast forward 6 months.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't need to be that long. We could say 2 or 3 or 6. What would you like to choose? 2, 3 or 6 months?
3 months.
3. Okay. So this is now she's got the solution
Okay.
for that. And you are just about to, you can either be just about to talk to someone about it, or you're just about to read or write something about the solution. You choose. What would you like to do?
Hmm. I'd like to speak with somebody about it.
Okay, great. So I'll be the person and you
Okay.
talk to me.
Okay. So if I'm looking to expand the reach and the impact outside of the local region and community that I am currently um, involved with. How is it that I can, how can I expand it? Like maybe throughout the nation or even, throughout like even different countries.
Well, once I've got the permissions from you for the parents, we can take it wherever you want to. There are many more networks open to this idea. So have you got the permission sorted so that I can go ahead with the documentation and the filming?
Yes.
Right. Well, then, you decide, have a look at what area you're prepared to travel in or speak in, and we'll have to agree on another fee, but then we could target it to different networks, social media podcasts, but also some of the news programs are now really interested in this. So I'd really like to get you involved.
News networks you mentioned.
Yes, sure. I've got connections to those. With all my documentary work, I have a lot of connections to the news network. So as long as we've got that permission from the parents, I have had that in the past where we've had to white out a child's face because it was a bit tricky. But if you can get the right group of people together, then we can go home. We go ahead and document it and then put it together in that package you were asking for.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay. No, right. So let's just pause there for a moment. Let's just take us to tomorrow, and you wake up and the idea that comes into your mind is the next logical step towards her. What is it?
I mean, for what I imagine is like starting to put something out there on social media or like starting to plan like dates and locations for this to develop, locally and then, beyond in the US to hit different areas.
I'm going to pause you.
Yeah.
Is that fun?
No, not really.
Okay, so good. We'll just scrap that one for a moment because it was a good rehearsal. You wake up tomorrow morning and the idea you have is that, oh my God, this is such fun. It's your passion. You know how strongly passionate you are. So this tiny little thing of an idea, and it doesn't need to come through now. We're just creating that it appears. Okay.
Yeah.
Because usually the more, as you know, the more fun, the more completely you, the giggle factor, the love factor, the joy factor, that's got the most energy. So why go any other way? You know roughly how you want to feel in the future. So, and you got to keep that same. You got to have that feeling now and tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, okay, I think we'll leave that open-ended because you understand that bubbling. Now we could take it further. We could do a parallel version of her. Let's quickly just jump into a parallel version of this.
Oh, okay.
Okay, you in
All
your
right.
what was it? Was it 3 years time? Is
Yes.
that yes, okay. So right, this is now still 3 years time, but it's a version of her that had kind of an outrageous amount of fun in the process of doing this. What's the difference? Tell me. Show me. Tell me. Let's look at what she looks like, how she feels, how she moves, what she's doing, what she ate for breakfast.
Oh, wow. I think she just had fruit for breakfast because she's just like she wanted to get moving. Yeah. And she did a little bit of qigong and some dance, and then she started.
Did you post any of that on social media? Was it a little? Did you just?
Yeah.
Yep.
Of course, she posts her dance on social media, of course. And so then after that, she instead of so she's going to look for the places like around, like starts searching, maybe.
Okay, let's have a meeting with someone who is where it's just so scintillating. Whatever they've got, the piece of land, the facilities, whatever it is, are just going to just, oh my God, they're just going to zing ping you into thrill. Okay, you ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You meet this person. What have they got?
Hmm.
Is it a land? Is it
Acres.
facility? Ears.
Acres.
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 Yeah, acres and yeah.
Are you going to live there? Are you going to move?
No, no, I'm not living there.
Can you
No.
change anything?
Mm, I don't know what I'm changing, what I'm doing there. I know some reason, like something popped into my head that it's a friend who has land that she's building on, and it's just open. Yeah, so that just popped into my head, but I'm not exactly sure because I'm not sure if it's like woodsy with a stream and like what the other version thought.
Yeah, but
So
maybe it's just because it's a friend, maybe there's much more freedom. You know,
yeah,
the park with the creek, there's certain things you can and cannot do with ordinances and so on, aren't there? Whereas if it's a friend, you can talk about whether the tree branches are going to be lopped off at a certain height. You know, can the kids still climb? Are they allowed to climb the trees? Can they make a den? You know, can they play on the little sandy beach on that creek? You know, there's different things you could do because it's a different relationship.
right, yeah. Ah, okay, I get that.
Let's
And then, like,
keep that.
something just popped into my head
Yeah,
that
yeah.
possibly even just stop talking to my parents about it because they live 3 hours north and they are near a lake and in the woods, and I don't know. So possibly we could do that. Talk to them about something like that, and
Organize something, yeah, with these
people
people coming
would
in.
be tenting in their area for 3 days or something.
Yeah, then you have much more control, don't you, over that environment.
Yeah.
So, that's just an example of how we can play. And we did that all with our open eyes, we
Yeah,
did
the eyes are open.
with spiritual. But because, the two of us just working together to allow it through. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah. That'd
Yeah.
be fun. I like that. And like it totally it's just it seems as though it's like with intention and then with the open to possibilities and with the imagination.
Yeah. And we could have, bigger conversations about anything, because that's the beauty of using then the imagination improvisation part that I'm the empty vessel for whoever it is that you want to talk to.
Yeah.
And that works really well too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's essentially what I'm doing on my own. I'm just talking to another part of me because that's what I realized I had to do. It's like you had to get conversation.
That's right.
Then you've
Yeah.
got interaction, therefore you can pull out more information with conversation.
Oh, I love it. That's so fun.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people I've worked with now I had this French Canadian friend who, when I was doing my course with Oksana Buchanan about, soul, maybe soul retrieval. Yeah, this kind of work anyway. And so I worked with her and we went and built her entire vision. And she just messaged me a month ago and said, so that was 2.5 years later, it was all coming into place. So it is ridiculously, well, lovely, beautifully powerful because you're just kind of collecting what was inevitable to your journey, as long as it's something of the level of imagination, emotion that you want to reinforce. Yeah.
How fun. Thank you. That was enjoyable. Ah. So you said it was what? Oh, she was your client. You said this Alexandra person, or she was someone you learned from?
Oh, Oksana Buchanan is someone I learned from.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she helped me do about 4 years ago, 5 years ago. She does this reclaiming soul. So a lot of people have got these entrapped fragments of soul, or a lot of beings were captured and brought here to Earth by, the parasitic entities. because they wanted that soul energy and it was part of their experiment. So she would go and kind of rescind all the contracts that were in the way of freedom.
Wow.
So either you can have an improved life, which generally happens, and also on the death thing, the transition, you're able to choose whether you want to come back here or whether you want to go back to your more, original place. Personally, I know I've had all kinds of incarnations. I've been here for a while as a human too and done other things, but so it's kind of all a fun adventure. But some people really want to go back to their original galaxies or planets. And so she was very good at that. She just had this crazy distant seeing and she'd, go into great detail. It's wonderful fun to work with. And I didn't have to do much reclamation because I basically had it, but we found I had this extensive sort of AI net keeping me down and preventing any freedom of expression. So, I might exude my energy, but it was going nowhere because this thing was just trapping everything. So
Oh my goodness.
took that off, and then we helped all my kids because I wanted to make sure that they were repaired and clean because they had such a rough ride. So, I loved that, and I was with her. Everything she saw, I saw and felt. I was in England, she was in Chicago. She's now in Florida, but it was such fun. It was like, I like this. I want to do this. So, I trained a little bit with her, and then I've been doing that kind of work, with the children.
Yeah.
She just took it to another dimension, so it was fun.
Oh my gosh. How exciting. Do you want me to bring Christopher in or are we good on time?
We're about 4 minutes left.
Oh, okay. One,
Maybe can we do it maybe another time because otherwise it's just too long.
yes.
But it would be lovely to do, if you want to do another little session, we can do anything with maybe that anger issue of creating the perfect environment for that.
Yeah, yeah. I can bring some toys and stuff and he can like maybe do some Legos or like a football and
Bring some toys, some figures, and something to scribble with and draw with.
Okay.
He did say he loves to type, but in that whatever it is, he's going to need to focus his idea in comfort with me. It might be that he, picks up toys and plays with them, or it might be that he wants to draw it down or write it down or type it down,
Yeah.
or just remember it. But if there is that's just his help, his sort of leaning stick.
Yeah, he seems to like his Spider-Man guy or
Yeah. And then you can have this guy being the Mr. Angry, and then this is him, and they have the conversation. Yeah, perfect.
Right, no doubt. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Fun. Very cool. Well, thank you so much. That
Oh, that
was
was
a
fun.
fun little exploration exercise.
Yeah. Yeah. I need a photograph from you now, the 3 years in the future. I can really see you. Could you really see yourself?
I didn't see I saw more like the articles of clothing. I didn't really like in the face. I didn't really see like eyes.
Yeah, no, I didn't see that much detail. That's true. But it's because it's sea feeling. It's the sort of weird mixture of that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's just kind of like this. She's just kind of da 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 da.
smooth.
You know, like this is good. We're good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you for letting me demonstrate my craft.
Yeah. Thank you for letting me explore that different paradigm shift and like checking in to see which way and direction I can take,
And that we did with the eyes
that
open.
block, that resistance that's been like, no, you can't, you don't know how to do like the work with the children. I'm like, but I have my own children, so like I should be able to.
But with you, we could do it with eyes open. Some people you need to put into hypnotic state, and that's possible. I've got a different, it's different every time, but there are lovely soft ways you can do it. You know that very well because you use that. But you didn't really need to because you're soft and flexible enough that you can access that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, that's you. The inner earth being said it yesterday to me with another client, and they said, yeah, she's softening. She has spaces within her so that she can perceive. She can perceive beyond her. She's got, and they were showing this kind of like spaces literally where sort of the light gets in.
Nice.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Oh.
I see you soon. Yeah.
All right, sounds good.
Okay.
Talk soon. Bye bye.
Bye.